Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the #1 channel on YouTube, hosted by a welder that is passionate about passive income named Russ. But before we get into the portfolio update, I want your comments below because I want to know if you think these are too long. Do you find the stock cards that I share from Simply Safe Dividends with the numbers popping up on them? Do you find that helpful to show what I bought, what I sold, dividends I've received and such? Please share in the comments below. Or if you would just prefer to see the spreadsheet here and go through it really quickly, I want to know what is most helpful to you. And do remember that when we throw up those stock cards from Simply Safe Dividends, it does have a valuation metric on it now, so that can give it a little bit of a more timely effect. And you can see if something is overvalued or undervalued according to simplysafedividends.com. Hey, and hands down, the easiest way to keep up with myself and other dividend-focused investors you know and love, like Ian Lopic, Ryan Williams, and Mike the Dividend Guy, is over at Blossom, where I am sharing my real-time portfolio activity, trades, and updates. So if you do follow me and you toggle on trades, every time I do something, you'll get a notification, and then you can also see the portfolios that we do share from Schwab on the channel in real time. How cool is that? And you can peep in on Ian Lopic's portfolio and see that he has 60% of the portfolio he shares and talks about in SCHD. That is crazy, Ian. So Blossom is free to join, and I have a link in the video description below. 6 September dividend increases, good for $45. Let's run through them. Starting with the most recent, VTI hit us with an extra 73 cents. Now, we just talked about SCHD. I'm sure Ian Lopic is happy with this one. SCHD raised that dividend on average 3.5%, and that gives us an extra $16.50 in PADI. If you don't know what PADI is, it is projected annual dividend income. The Golden Arches and soon-to-be Dividend King with their 48th consecutive annual dividend raise, McDonald's hit us with a 6% dividend raise, which gave us an extra $4 on those 10 shares we've held forever. Now, we're using this Schwab money market fund as a bit of a pit stop in the self-directed IRA, but ticker SWVXX hit us with an extra $8.98, but again, it's a pit stop. It's temporary holding place for some cash while we are deploying it. Realty Income with a huge 0.19% dividend raise. They do a lot of quarterly raises, so it adds up, but that gave us an extra $1.20 of dividend income per year. Last but not least, Vici Properties, ticker VICI, hit us with a 4.2% increase, and they have now raised their dividend every single year since they went public in 2018. And that should give us $14.07 of more PADI. What's that you say? Did I buy any more Vici? Funny you should ask. If you sign up for the free and fantabulous weekly newsletter, you'll find out once a week every Sunday. But if you sign up for Blossom, as we talked about, you would have known today if I had bought more Vici Properties, ticker VICI. All right, let's blow through these real quick. The dividends received, lot to get to. Ares Capital Corp, ticker ARCC, $194.40. Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, ticker SCHD, $124.49. PepsiCo, ticker PEP, $135.50. And by the way, PepsiCo just bought Siete Foods for $1.2 billion because they want to be a little bit healthier. But don't forget, they also have Santita's brand, Budget tortilla chips. So next time you're in the grocery store, pick them up, give them a try. We like them. Chevron, ticker CVX, $24.45. ExxonMobil, ticker XOM, $41.80. Main Street Capital paid us the regular monthly dividend of $36.75, but then they also hit us with a special dividend of $45. Agree Realty, another monthly dividend paying company, ticker ADC, $23.50. And Realty Income, ticker O, $52.60. And again, Realty Income is the monthly dividend company. This is a newer position, but they're already paying dividends. Visa, ticker V, $14.56. Johnson & Johnson, ticker JNJ, $140.12 in dividends. Prudential Financial, ticker PRU, $41.60. There's those Golden Archers. McDonald's, we don't even eat McDonald's that much. They say you shouldn't get high in your own supply, but we'll take the dividend, $16.70. Lockheed Martin, ticker LMT, $31.50. And the Schwab Value Money Fund, ticker SWVXX, they do pay that monthly, $12.90. Then we also sold and bought back a Johnson & Johnson covered call that would have expired on October 4th, 2024. It was a $172.50 call contract that we sold for $93, but after buying it back for $9 and some change, after fees, we collected $82.68 for a grand total of $1,018.15 in dividends and a little bit of option income for the month of September. What we sold in the month of September, first up, 250 shares of Enterprise Products Partners, ticker EPD, at an average price of $28.98. Now, if you follow the channel, you're going to be aware of why I sold Enterprise Products Partners and what I'm buying instead, but there'll be a floating little box at the end of the video you can check out to find out exactly what went on with that if you don't know. And then we also exited our position in Prudential Financial, ticker PRU, 32 shares sold at $121.10 on average. And we had a return of almost 60% on those shares, not including dividends received. Prudential's a good company, but we have some bills that were piling up that I wanted to get out in front of. And you know what? Instead of building a proper and traditional emergency fund, we took the riskier route and invested all the money we should have had in an emergency fund. So it worked out, thankfully, but this is why we're going to be selling off some positions from what should have been in an emergency fund to take care of actual real world bills. And then also, when I bought Prudential, I heard how Warren Buffett loved insurance companies because of the float that they receive, which is when they take in money for a premium and they might not ever have to pay that out. Well, what do they do with it? They can invest that float. So I wanted an insurance company, and right here in Chicago, there's a big Prudential building. So I picked Prudential. There's a lot more to them than that, because aside from taking in the premiums and making investments, there's also fees, there's underwriting that they do, there's reinsurance. So there's a lot of moving parts, and it can be a little tricky to understand. So that is one that if I invest in insurance companies again, I would want to make sure I have a much deeper fundamental understanding of the business. So we've had lots of money stockpiling up. So what did we buy in September? Well, here you go. 2 little old shares of the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, ticker SCHD, at $81.25. 10 shares of the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, ticker VTI, at $276.44 on average. Now we're buying VTI because, honestly, I don't see a lot to buy, but I know that if money is sitting on the sidelines, it's not working for you, it's not compounding, and I'm just not smart enough to time the market. So because I don't know what else to buy, VTI, and I'm going to let the money sit there. And because it's invested in everything, and yeah, it's a little bit weighted heavy toward the Mag 7, but I think it's a good place to put money that I'm not quite sure what to do with yet until I see a screaming buy, and then I'll likely peel off some shares of VTI to buy that. 13 shares of Visa, ticker V, at an average of $276.94. 6 shares of Agree Realty Corp at $75.01, ticker ADC. 24 shares bought of Vici Properties, ticker VICI, at $33.09. We added 1,000 more shares of ticker SWVXX, the Schwab Value Money Fund, at $1. And remember, those shares are always at $1, and they pay about a nickel every month on those shares. New position we started, hint, hint, ticker MLPX, the Global X MLP and Energy Infrastructure ETF, 38 shares at $53.48. 7 more shares of Nike before it started taking off, ticker NKE, at $80.24 average. As I told Jeremy from DividendStockpile.com, I may be in a cult called Nexstar Media Group, ticker NXST. I added 1 more share for $157.50. And then they don't pay a dividend, but man, has their stock been on fire. Harrow Incorporated, ticker HROW, 3 shares bought, average of $45.05. I'll have a link for this spreadsheet below. If you're bored out of your mind and have nothing better to do, have at it. And anyway, dividends, projected annual dividends received from what we bought, $295.64. The projected annual dividend income lost from what we sold, it's a big one, $691.40. For a September net PADI of negative $395.76. But remember, we do have a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines, so that'll eventually all be redeployed, and that PADI will start coming back up. Now, this is on simplysafedividends.com. We'll take a really quick run through. I'm down to 18 individual holdings and then a few ETFs, but our yield on cost, 4.33%. And as a percentage of the portfolio, here we go. Nexstar Media Group, 115 shares. We're only up 2.6% on those. So this one I'm really starting to struggle with, but thinking of it as I'm owning a business, and if you owned a private business, you wouldn't have a stock price to check every single day, all day long and compare to, so you would be forced to look at the fundamentals of the business. 113 shares of J&J, 100 shares of PepsiCo, so those are some of the big ones, 165 shares of SCHD, which we're up almost 14% on. And check that out, almost a 4% yield on cost for SCHD, and that's currently hitting us $483 a year. 200 shares of Realty Income, 42 shares were up to a Visa in 2 portfolios. By far and away, the biggest winning position that I've had so far is Harrow Incorporated, ticker HROW. 204% gain as of this recording. My. Ares Capital, 405 shares. We're up 14%. Main Street Capital, 150 shares. Agree Realty, 100 shares. And remember, this is also in addition to our 401k, where I have 3 mutual funds, and that's the bulk of our net worth. So this is all kind of ancillary, but it's starting to not be so ancillary. It's growing and doing well. 78 shares of Starbucks, ticker SBUX, and we're up 25% on those. I was really hoping to get to 100 shares under $80 cost per share, so we'll see. Hopefully they're going to have a pullback, for me selfishly. 225 shares of Vici, up 8.4%, currently hitting us with $389 of annual income. Lockheed Martin, we're up 80% on, very nice on those. ExxonMobil, 44 shares, up 171%. Look at that yield on cost for ExxonMobil, 8.41%. That is just stupendous. SWVXX, 5,000 shares. That's going to fluctuate as we start putting money to work and getting it off the sidelines. But the yield on cost on that, 5.39%. They pay monthly, so not terrible, but there's going to be no capital appreciation, but there's also very little risk that it ever goes down. 25 shares of AbbVie, up 125%, blowing through these. VTI, total investable U.S. stock market right there. It's like 3,600 companies, a small little sliver of all of those. So it's a really diversified ticker symbol just buying that. And it is the sister fund to VTSAX, which you may have heard a lot about in the FIRE community. 42 shares of Nike. We're up 7% on. 10 shares of McDonald's. This is one that's on the chopping block we may sell as we're looking at buying a car. 15 shares of Chevron, up 78%. 40 shares of ticker MLPX. That is the MLP ETF, up 4.6%, already hitting us with $104 of annual income. And Innovative Industrial Properties, 10 shares. We're down 22%, but that one's been coming up nice. And then remember the cash, $1,100 plus the $5,000 that we have in SWVXX. So we're down to about $6,000 that we have left to deploy. Do not forget to share with me if you like this format, if this is okay with you, you'd like to see this, if you'd like it a little bit quicker, maybe just show the spreadsheet so we can just blow through this really fast. And if you were helped by this at all, consider leaving a thumbs up and subscribing. And as promised, in this magical floating little box next to my head, I talked about why I sold EPD and what I bought and why I bought it instead. So yeah, if you click that floating little magical box, then I will tell you all about it there.